Hi folks, I'm Candace Savanen. I'm the main author of Introduction to Reproducibility in Cancer Informatics, and today I'm going to go through the exercise in the fourth chapter, which is how to make your analysis an open source project using GitHub. So let's navigate to the course. This is the fourth chapter. I'm going to scroll through. This is about all the rationale of why we're doing this, so definitely read through this if you have not. And now we're down to get the exercise project files. Depending on whether you want to do Python or R, you can click to download. I'm going to download the Python files this time. And you should see that your computer's downloaded it. Unzip those files. On Macs, you can double click. And this is what I have. So I have some files. And now I want to make these files open source. So I am going to go to GitHub. So here I'm going to go to GitHub's main page. That's the link. And this is where I suggest you pause the video to create your own account. And meanwhile, I'm going to sign in with my account. So pause it. Okay. Good job on making your own GitHub account. You're one step closer. All right. So now I am going to follow these instructions to make a repository. I'm opening a new tab. All right, here's these instructions on GitHub. GitHub has a lot of documentation. It's usually pretty thorough and good. Sometimes it can be a little hard if you haven't gotten familiar with the terms yet. All right, so I'm gonna go to my account. This is my GitHub account, so make way to your profile. I'm going to look at my repositories. So click on Repositories tab. I'm going to click onto this big old green button that says New. I'm going to name this something that has to do with the project. So let's call it heat map Python. It's not a super descriptive name, but probably for your own projects, you'll have more descriptive details. And I'll put a description. We create a heat map with Python. All right. I'm going to make it public. I'm going to have it add a README. We'll fill in this README in a later chapter. I'm also going to have it add a getignore, and I'll have it add a Python one. They have a bunch of different language version ones, so if you're doing R, have it add an R one. There's an R one as well. Now we're going to create it. You have a GitHub repository. This is great. All right, moving on. So let's go back to our course. So we did that, and now you can follow these instructions if you like, but I'm gonna just do it now to add files now to your repository. So GitHub has some things that you can do through its GUI, and today we're going to use its GUI. GUI versus command line, right? Command line is where you're typing in your commands, and GUI is where you can point and click and say, do this. And for a lot of instances, for reproducibility, we want to make scripts and use command line. But for this particular instance, we're just trying to ease into GitHub. So we're going to just drop our files in here, and there's no problem with that. All right, so let's do that. So we click on code. All right, you notice on the interface here, this is the description we typed in, and this is all it has in our README. READMEs automatically show up on the repository, and it also has our getignore file. We can talk more about what a getignore file is later, but basically there's like some extra remnant pesky files that show up when you're just going about your business, and you don't necessarily want to clutter up your repository with those files. So what a getignore does is it tells Git to ignore those messy files that you don't really want. So that's all. So we're just gonna have that. For this first time, we're just gonna upload files like this. So if you didn't see that, I'll do it again. Add file, upload files. And now we can just drag and drop like you would any other place. So here's my files. I'm going to upload these things. I'm ignoring these because that's like exactly an example of one of those pesky files that gets created that you don't really ever need. So I am going to upload the rest of these guys though. All right, it's uploading, and we can see all our files are uploading. In our advanced course, we're going to talk about what different branches mean. But for now, we're just going to say commit to main. We don't have anything in our repository that we have to worry about overwriting. So just use this option. That's all you need to know for now. All right, and I'm going to just say adding my first files. Okay, and I click commit changes. It's thinking. Great, you have files. You have a project that's now open source. And now, say somebody wants to see what's happening with your project, you can send them this link, although it'll be your own URL, not mine. And there you go, they can see everything. In future chapters, we'll talk about what you can do to really make this. GitHub is a lot more than a file a repository, but we'll talk about that later. So one step at a time. Great job.